Well, I'll open the meeting. This is the Historic District Committee meeting. It's December 17th at 7:07, and we're beginning our monthly meeting. We have the former Honorable Brooke Pageant here.
Yes, I'm still honorable, Bill.
I'm not so sure about that.
That's all right. I just thank you for taking me. It's really what I'm trying to do is, and most of you have been into the tavern before, and if you have, I've probably talked to you about the egress there. We have the main door that you come in the back off of Worcester Street, and then the second means of egress is a door that goes into the building and opens in. And from the time we've opened, we've talked about trying to get another means of egress that opens out and not into the building, out into the grass area or somewhere else. In order, as you all know, because of the building and the nature of that building, we have to go to Mass Historical with architect drawings and whatnot. And I didn't want to go and start that process before speaking to the members of this committee and at least knowing there isn't any opposition to trying to get a second means of egress there. Now, if anyone, Jeff, I don't know, have you been in there?
No, I haven't. Where is the tavern, Brooke?
It's in the basement of One Grafton Common.
Oh, okay, okay.
And if you're facing the back of the building, it's the right, the entrance is the right, the old, the Historical Society room.
Okay, I don't know.
You don't
that
know?
well, so.
Okay, well, on Worcester Street, there's an entrance in the back.
Yep.
There's that door, then there's the new back door. So the entrance to the tavern is on the Worcester Street side. So if you go into that, go into the tavern and get into the space, the bars to your left, what we want to do is there's a window right outside of the bar area already that faces the patio or the back entrance. And if you've been by there, during COVID, we fenced it in and put some picnic tables in there.
Okay.
Okay, so that window, there's already a window there. So what we would like to do, because seems to me it'd be the easiest and the cheapest and the best for everyone, is take that window out and put a crash door in, which would give egress out of the building if something happened, right? One of the arguments, one of the problems is if there were a problem and there was a fire of some kind and you were in the front of the bar to run out in the street, you would run back into the building to actually exit, which isn't the best, you know. You could also throw a chair out the window of the 15 windows there and get out too, but so the plan was to get a crash door in place of that window. And then because of ADA and whatnot, put some pavers down so it would meet up, or maybe not pavers, maybe brick to match the brick that comes into the back door.
Good, good.
I know it's a historic building. At the same time, this is looking out onto the parking lot back entrance where there's cars lined up. It doesn't really, and it's hidden from view on all Worcester Street. You only see it if you come to the boulevard or whatever it's called now, Jordan Terrace, Jordan Lane. So anyway, I want to know if there's some concerns or questions or feelings about it before we go and spend, you know, the grand or whatever it's going to cost to get some drawings to go to Mass Historical, who may say no as well, but I don't want to go there and have, you know, this committee saying we don't want it either. So
what would the door look like?
it would be it would look like either the back door or the tavern door that goes in now, whatever would be in keeping with the building. It would have a crash bar on the inside, but the outside would look probably a lot like the back door, the entrance, the back door to the entrance now, the main back door, I guess we would say.
And Brooke, you envision this just to be an emergency egress. It's not going to be an entrance.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I can't speak for anybody else, but I understand what you're doing. I understand the reason for it, and I have no problem with it. I'm glad that you would be putting brick in to match the brick that is there going to the downstairs basement entrance to the old town hall there. So that'd be great if you match that or come close and you have a period appropriate door. It's okay with me. Anybody else?
Yeah, this is John. I don't have any issue with it. A window door, it does not too much of a difference there, really. It is facing into the grassed area.
Right.
It's really, you don't have any visibility from the common itself into it. So I don't have any issue. So, it would just come down to if Mass Historic is okay with it, then, we would need to see the proposed door and pathway and materials to be used, et cetera.
Yep.
Yeah.
And because it would be a structural change to the building, it probably would have to be some type of public hearing associated with it as well.
And I think we're gonna, yes, I think we're gonna have to go in front of the selectmen, so that's not a done deal either. I can see them walking at it. I just didn't want to start doing it and then have, the historic commission saying we don't want it either. If I can at least start chipping away at it, that's what I really care about.
Yeah, the way you're approaching it is in line with what we would want to see, so I don't have a problem either.
Brad, John,
I don't
Stephen?
I don't have a problem with that either.
Okay, great.
I'm okay.
Yep.
But it's the door that is, what direction is that? Kind of northwest door or window rather? That's
I think it's
facing the street,
northeast.
not
Face to the east.
northeast. So
Yeah.
it's not the window that faces the grassy area, right?
It is a
It is-
window that
there's
faces
some-
the grassy area.
Okay.
It's
Because
not the one,
the vault is right there on the end, but it's not that one on the corner. It's around the corner.
Correct.
Right.
yeah, it's
Right.
not,
Is it
there is a window that kind of faces the vault. It's not that one because
Right.
there's not enough, it's the one
get
that
out.
faces the grass,
Oh.
right? You have to be able to
Okay.
exit.
Is it the one
Okay.
that you were using as kind of like a serving window? when
No,
you
it's
had
not,
it,
it's not that one because that one's on the interior of the bar. It's the one next to that one.
Okay,
So it's a
Okay.
little further,
that-
it's closer to the vault than that one.
I don't
Gotcha.
have any issues at all.
Now, let me just, that's our intention to do all that. I'd also would say, and this is way down the line if it could happen, because it's a lot more money than I thought. That patio fenced in area looked good and worked out well. If someday we could turn that into something, that would be a whole nother issue. But initially, we just want the exit door.
So you're thinking down the road, potentially you would want to make a patio?
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, but that's a whole nother thing. We got to get, a change of the use license and there's a whole lot more to it. I just didn't want you to think, if I come back in 2 years, like, why didn't you tell us then? It wouldn't be, listen, if it could happen, I think it would be great. If it doesn't happen, I still want that door because for the
sure.
exit. So, we're going to go for the door no matter what, but it did, for anybody who went out there, it did work out okay if it could be something that, again, down the line became something, and maybe it can't because they only allowed that during COVID. If they don't allow stuff like that after COVID, then they're going to deny it anyway. But in either case, we're looking for that door to exit out of the building rather than into the building.
Would that be a flat exit or would there be a step or two involved?
It would have, in my mind, it would have to be a flat because it wouldn't have much value then. Not that it wouldn't have value, but if you're making wheelchairs wheel into the building, that doesn't sound great. I mean, I think in order to get it to pass by everyone, it's going to have to be grade level out.
Okay. We may have some extra bricks we can sell you.
All right,
So Brooke,
cheap. If
I
it's
would-
cheap,
Good deal. Good deal. We'll move them for you.
Brooke, if you want to get your ducks in a row, I'd get an application in first so that you have that and you've got our approval. And then I know you're going to want a letter of support for the Mass Historic. And,
Right,
you know,
an
that way, if
application-
you've got to go to the selectmen
an
too,
application
you'll have
with
all
who?
that with us.
oh, an application with you?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, I'll do that. I can get that online?
Yes.
Okay, all right, I'll get that to you right away then.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. It's on the HTC website.
Okay,
Just include proposed materials, what the door would look like, et cetera.
okay. I mean, it's okay if I just take a picture of like the other door and say the door is gonna look like that door?
Yeah.
And the brick's gonna look like that brick and. Okay. I didn't follow through initially, but if you notice the air conditioner is covered by a fence. You would ask for that. And we
Oh,
did that.
nice. I hadn't noticed.
Shrubs
Thank
we
you.
had asked for, but the fence will work.
What did you ask for?
Shrubs.
Oh,
We want a
well,
shrubbery.
I think it was
Bring
fence
us
or
a
shrub.
shrubbery.
The shrubs would overgrow and no one would take care of them. The fence looks fine. You can't even see the air conditioning unit.
Sounds good.
Is that it? So I'll get the application in as soon as possible.
Brooke, there are 3 different applications on the website. The one that you want is a certificate of appropriateness.
Okay. Great. I'll do that right away.
Brooke, do you sell beer at that tavern?
We do sell beer, Jeff, and if the first time you come, you get one for half price.
I was gonna say, I'll
John
even pay double.
Stevens. John Stevens keeps coming. Every time he comes, it says it's his first time there. Every single time.
Bill keeps buying my beer or John Morgan.
I look forward to the day that I can walk through that door and have a pint.
Yes, me too. Me
It's been a
too.
long time.
Yes. I mean, and this is a total off the, yeah, and I don't want to take up any more of your time. We were closed in March, we reopened in August or July, and then we closed again in August. It's only been open, 1 month since March. So it has not been great. And I see in the Grafton News that there was a complaint about,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
we weren't open. So I'm not sure who they talked to, or they never came to us, or it's like, I'm not sure who, they might have been drinking when they did the investigation.
I thought
So I'm not sure.
it was about reunion. It was about.
Well, it said
No, there was one for them too.
Yeah, I don't want to get into the politics of it, but the selectmen's list had about 15 complaints. They mentioned 3, the reunion and us. And then they kind of said that we were now in compliance, but we were never out of compliance. So I'm not really sure why they put us in and said we were out of compliance, because we were not, because we were closed. So I'm not sure what they're
Yeah.
talking about, but anyway. But yeah, I think that the reunion's having some problems, so they'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Hopefully. All right, thank you, everyone.
Okay, you're welcome, Brooke.
Thank you, Brooke.
All right,
Take
Thank
care.
you.
okay, take care.
Good night.
Night.
All right, so I have that note, guys. I can read it. Very small type, so I gotta take my glasses off. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, general law, chapter 30A 18, and the governor's March 15th, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place. The various boards and committees representing the town of Grafton will conduct their public meetings and hearings via remote participation. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted. So that's what we're doing. I think that'll be sufficient. So I guess next, Jeff, did you get the email that Bill sent?
I did, and I didn't take a look at it, Paul.
You did or you did not?
I did, yes, I did.
Okay. So does it address your questions sufficiently?
I think it does. What I gathered from it, with that attachment, he's suggesting we use that copper impregnated barrier, if you will. I'm gonna send an email back to him and just ask if the intention is to put it in the vertical plane along the edges of the sidewalk, or if maybe he was envisioning laying it flat under the sidewalk. Just my read of the material wasn't clear to me which way to use it, and I'm not familiar with it, but I'm expecting it'll be vertical along the sides of the sidewalk.
Yeah, I was a little confused because he talks about it under his answers to number one, this other type of barrier, and gave us a link. But then number three, which is direction regarding whether the tree root barrier shown in the tree root barrier construction detail on sheet C501 is to be used, revised, or eliminated. He says, recommend revise or remove the spec to be informed by the town's decision on what product material to utilize as the root barrier. The spec could be much more general or eliminated, and reference made to a separate tree protection schematic. So I guess he's still referring to this other one. This is what he's recommending up here, and he's saying eliminate that and maybe have a separate schematic for this. And that's what his attachment is, I think, there, that
That's,
Q-Tex installation.
that's what I gathered is his intention here with number three is for us to use that, the material in the attachment. And I certainly can revise the plans to that. When we talked about in his comment being more general, we can't be general on the plans and specs because it creates ambiguity, which is going to be difficult to get bidders to know exactly what we're looking for.
Yeah, but we could just refer to this other schematic that he sent us, right? The installation guidance.
Yes, yeah, or the material, or what I'll have to do is take this specific material and try to describe it in a generic fashion, because there may be other manufacturers that make the same material, and the bidders are supposed to be able to not get a Ford, but get an automobile, and as long as it meets all the specifications.
Right.
So
Yeah, I don't, that would be a good question for him. Are there other manufacturers of similar?
And I don't have a problem of making it generic. And if it only comes back that there's one material that meets this, so be it. I don't expect a dispute over something like this. But where we can, we'd rather not be speccing out a specific make and model, except for the lights, of course.
Right.
Yep. Public bid documents, usually you don't want to be speaking to a manufacturer unless you provide three different manufacturers' products. That's the way we normally do it. With the lighting, I think there's a way we can, because it's very specific to the period, to the appearance, and so on and so forth. I think we're able to do it with the lighting. But not
We need to do it with the lighting.
Yep. On his number one about SSAT root excavation, I have no idea what that is.
That's the supersonic thing. It's the air spading.
Okay. Which leads me to the question, during construction, will Davy Tree be going out and do an excavation, this SSAT excavation on the contract to the Historic District Commission?
Yes, we need to hire them to supervise and to do that.
Okay, and I'll have to get that wording into the documents, into the bid documents. So bidders know that they just don't go about their business. They've got to coordinate with Davy Tree.
Yeah. So they can do their pruning and that supersonic. I don't know what the AT stands for, but it's the air spading.
Okay, supersonic airspeed. Great.
So it sounds like you essentially have what you need. You just need a little clarification on a couple things from him, which I'm sure he can provide you
Yes.
on these items. I know you have other items for us to go through.
Yep.
So so it's good news that he's not saying that any other trees need to be removed. We have to do the supersonic excavation and pruning. So that's great.
Yep, good. Good, yeah, so I think that where we're at with Davy Tree, I can follow up with him to get clarification so we can get the revision of the plans underway.
All right, I'm just, bear with me 1 minute. All right, I got your note in front of me now. So the other thing you wanted was about the narrower sidewalk. I think we had already agreed on going, was it 7 feet we decided on, guys?
Yes.
Go with 7 feet, okay. So we'll basically, for the layout, unless I'm told different, what I'll try to do is hold the center line of the existing walkways and then bring it in on both sides a little bit, so it's 7 foot 0 inches. Okay. Okay. Great. That was easy.
Yep.
It's still 2 inches anyway.
I'm
Then
sorry.
you had a, say it again?
I'm just saying that that gives you a little bit more room for the roots.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, it helps. Any little bit helps according to Bill, so that's what we'll do. Then you wanted some verification that we were okay with stone dust versus sand underneath the brick before it gets laid down. I guess I just don't understand why we would use one versus the other.
Okay. In the Grafton Common, when we did the roadway improvements, the construction detail we used at that time had stone dust. I've seen stone dust used more than sand, but I've seen sand used. I know my own walkway, I use sand, and I wish I used stone dust because I have ants all over the place and I have to spray all the time. So I was thinking of going back to stone dust, but I wanted to it's not going to be due to appearance because it's under the brick, but if there was a strong feeling one way or the other from the Historic District Commission, I'd rather hear about it now.
Is there much of a difference, Bill? Jeff?
Price wise?
Yeah.
Pretty insignificant, I believe, Bill.
Okay.
And the stone dust will help with the ant issue?
In my opinion, it will. I've got the small ants, not carpenter ants, but those little sweet things or whatever, and they love the sand. And yeah, and again, it can be, it's just a leveling course, something to, a finer aggregate that the people putting the brick down get the grade out very, very precisely. So either one works fine. In my opinion, the stone dust has a little more shear, not to be an engineer, but can resist shear better. In other words, walk on a beach in the dry sand versus the wet sand. The dry sand is, sand like the sand I had put on the construction detail, and the wet sand, that's got better shear resistance. That's more like the brick sand. I mean, the stone dust. So.
Stone dust is fine with me if that's what they
Okay.
want.
Okay,
Yeah, it seems like it
Yeah,
makes
No,
sense.
no issue.
great, thank you.
The final disposition on the conduits, how they're to be run up the granite posts.
Yep.
Did you see the note Andy sent? It was about a week ago, I think.
Yes,
It was
I
last
did,
Thursday.
about removing them, cutting the groove and putting them back in place.
Yeah, on site, they would do that.
Okay. All right. So I'll use the wording from Andy's email.
All right, on the light fixtures, what is, I've shared those contracts. Does that not have enough detail on it? As far as,
Well, we're at with this, Paul, is, pardon me for my confusion, but we had certain lights on the plan, and I know you've done a lot of work since the plan was put together and issued in September. Have the model numbers changed at all?
we're not going to use the ones that you had originally included in the engineering plans. We're going
Okay,
with Works. And I can get you the model numbers if that's what you need on that and the poles that they have there. So there's 6 of the lights will be for the poles.
Yep.
And then there's another 4 that are going to be hanging, but those 4 we're going to do separate anyway. So those shouldn't be on your plan. You should just have the 6 with the poles. I'll
Okay,
get you that.
okay. Now, the contractor that's gonna be awarded the bid, is he gonna be responsible for hanging the arch lights and wiring them?
So as far as the arch lights are concerned, Mott Ironworks is going to mount them onto the archways
Yep,
and mount the archways. As far as the electrical hookup, that needs to be an electrician that is part of the project. He
okay,
doesn't do the electrical work. He won't hook them up. I mean, he could feed the wire through and bring it up there, but as far as connecting it and all,
okay.
that
okay.
would have to be a certified electrician.
Understood. So, okay, so Grafton Historic District is on the separate contract, is buying the lights, buying the steel or whatever, having it erected, and the contractor under this contract, for which we're preparing bid docs, that contract is gonna wire it once it's installed.
Yeah. We actually have to include Mott Ironworks into this bid too. We want to use that specific
Vendor.
company, vendor, whatever. Yeah.
Okay, okay, I'm sorry. I'm
We
confused.
wanted to do it separate, but the amount is over the threshold that we would be able to do that.
Okay. Okay, so again, Mott Ironworks has been singled out. They're gonna supply all the steel and they're gonna assemble their lights, the lights you provide onto that. And the contractor has to subcontract Mott to do all that work. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right, I may have questions as we're assembling the documents, but I understand what I've got to change now.
I don't have the final contract with them because obviously they're only good for 30 days, but I do have a contract that has their information on them and what they're going to do. I do owe them a follow-up because one of the things we have to talk about, I guess we can talk about it right now, guys. I had noticed that the archways that were originally spec'd by Nick were round. And the original archways that were there were not round. They were either square or rectangular. We can do square or rectangular, the same size, but have that more accurate representation of what was there. But there was a price differential. I sent it to you guys. Did you guys all have a chance to look at it? It was about $3,000 more, if memory serves me correct.
I can't speak for anyone else, but to me, if they look fairly comparable, I don't have a problem with the round. If it's going to save $3,000, but it's just me.
I don't think they look right to me. I'm not in
What?
favor of them. They're, it's round. They wouldn't have had round tubular. If you look at what was in there, the post in the center of the common, you can still see the base where, it wasn't the full width of it, but it shows you it was definitely like a square or slightly rectangular.
I would say I'm sort of in agreement with Paul. $3,000 doesn't seem like a whole ton of money, and if I recall correctly, from the last meeting that I attended, we were saving quite a bit on the brick piece of it. So I think we should try to recreate as close to what was there before as we can. And $3,000 isn't a lot of money.
And
That's
to me,
fine.
it's one of the centerpieces of what we're trying to do. So I just want it to be done right in my mind. That's what I'm thinking. I'm trying to
Right.
find the actual.
Brad, John,
I-
Stephen, how do you feel?
Yeah, I agree with you both.
I agree with Paul.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was, the prior estimate was just under $12,000. And this one is just over 14, so it's not even 3. It's 14,297 versus like 11,9 something. And that's the price for all 4.
Yep, okay, that's fine.
All right. Back to the other note. Bear with me 1 second. I lost the note I had that Jeff had. Here we. All right, here it is. Okay. Any other additions, deletions, or revisions that we need to communicate to bidders? Paint removal from the granite post. That's a good one because I don't know if it was Andy or Paul that brought that up, but I think that makes a great deal of sense.
Yes.
Hand blasting on there.
Okay, is sandblasting specifically what's desired, or should I be generic with remove the
I
paint?
would be careful with sandblasting. Sandblasting can be a little aggressive. I would find the least aggressive way. I don't know if granite does have a problem. If you do it with brick, it can spoil the brick.
Okay.
Yeah, I just said sandblasting because it's the only thing I could think of. I don't know
Not a
what else they
problem.
would do.
Paint removal.
Yep, I agree, Bill, and John Stevens, thank you for that. I'll find a way to write it generically. In other words, remove the paint without changing the appearance, yada, yada, or whatever of the granite. So that they can't use a material, whether it's a chemical problem or a physical, mechanical type of problem. We don't want any damage to the granite. Okay. All right. Is there anything else that we're gonna be including in this, little details, whether it's, I don't know, anything else that the bidders, we've talked about that the bid is supposed to do, that to the best of our knowledge, we don't have on the plans yet?
Well, one thing I think we need to be very specific about is the version of the ADA guidelines that they're supposed to be following.
Okay,
I don't know if the ones that were proposed when we were going before the Disability Commission have since been approved. I'm not sure,
okay,
but it was those guidelines that they have specific guidelines for laying brick.
Laying the
The
brick.
prior ones did not. And we need to follow those. So that needs to be clearly spelled out.
okay. Understood. I will double check the documents and especially the specifications about that. In reference that ADA, and if they're not too lengthy, I think I'd like to put them into the technical specifications, but I'll make that call when I see the availability of this ADA, yet to be approved ADA set of specs, if you will. I mean, set of regulations, if you will.
Okay.
Okay.
If you need me to do anything like to figure out if they're approved now, if that's I can certainly
Okay.
help with that.
Paul,
let
if
me
you
know.
would, if you wouldn't mind checking on that, that would be a helpful. Because if
Okay.
if it is in fact a regulation, CMR, whatever, or if it's at the federal level, if we can cite that, that's all the better.
Yeah, it's state level.
State level, okay.
Yeah.
Yep, perfect, perfect. Okay.
All right, I will do that.
All right, so what I plan to do is I want to make the revisions to the civil plans first and then get those over to Shepherd Engineering for him to make the electrical revisions, because he's going to take our plans and then he's going to put his electrical onto it. And I don't want to have his electrical plan showing the wider sidewalk because he relies on our old civil plans.
Right.
Any notes that come from our plans that he keeps on his, I want those to show up as well. So we'll get on the way with this as quickly as we can. And I will call Mr. Shepherd promptly and let him know that it's going to be coming.
What's your anticipated timeline, Jeff?
Oh.
Knowing it's the holiday.
I hesitate because every day is between fires to fight and weather and you know, you never know what's going on, but we're getting into a quieter time. I'd like to think that, you know, in 2 weeks, the civil stuff is done. And knowing that we're coming into the holidays. It's not a lot of heavy lifting once we change the layout, but I want to make sure we're clear on all the notes and such. And then getting it over to Shepherd Engineering. I'm not sure how long he's going to be, but I'm going to try to grease those skids as best I can so that when he gets it,
Yeah.
I hope he can turn it around quickly.
Yeah, if you can let them know that we're really looking to go out to bid by the end of January.
Yep.
So anything that he can do to help expedite it would be greatly appreciated.
Will do. Great. Well, I have much more clear understanding of what I've got to do now. I appreciate your patience and your understanding about having to answer these questions, but I was dead in the water as far as, you know, I didn't want to start making revisions to the plans and, oh, no, not 7/8 on the width. We're going 7 foot 0 inch and, you know, throw that work away. So,
Yeah.
Okay.
No, understood. And I'll get you the follow-up on the ADA stuff and the architectural access board. And then also I'll get you the information on the lights.
Great. I know.
Oh, and mod engineering too. You wanted that as well.
Yeah. I definitely need, you know, thinking of it from the bidder's perspective, Paul, I need to make sure that we communicate very clearly to the bidders what they're doing, whether it's coordinating with someone like Mod Iron, or if they're buying the materials, them or their subs are buying the materials and assembling them themselves. So.
Yeah,
And then,
I'll make that clear when I send them off to you.
okay, sounds good. And then there's always the public procurement issues that we deal with, and we, you know, others in our office do a lot of public procurement. And it's, again, I said earlier tonight, if we say, you know, we can always talk about a generic catch basin, but if we say it's got to be a catch basin made by this company, we're supposed to not put one company, but three alternatives. And the lighting, of course, I know there's some kind of exemptions, and that's where it gets gray to me, but the lighting, of course, is very specific to this project for historical reasons. And
Right.
I'm going
Same with the archways.
That's right. And I'm going with that argument is why we're calling out Mott specifically, and why we're calling out the manufacturer of the post lights and the posts and all that. Great.
Sounds good.
Okay. We're good?
I think so. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff.
Well, it's good to see you guys, and Merry Christmas. Christmas to everyone.
Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Same to you. Same to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Seems like we're making good progress, guys.
Yeah, excellent, excellent. Paul, do we have anything more regarding the common?
No, I think that was it.
I
I
did-
will follow up with, I just need to follow up with Mott to let them know that we're going to go with the,
Square.
do you guys care square or rectangular, or let him make the call? What he says here is, in his quote, it's 3 by 3 by 1/4 or 3 by 2 by 1/4.
Price is the same either way.
Yeah,
I would think 3 by 3, but that's just me.
I'm fine with that. Go with the square. And I'll also let him know about the fact that we need a structural engineer to certify that the archways are safe
Yeah.
I don't know if he has somebody that he would do that with or what. So I guess we'll have to let Jeff know that little piece too. All right.
Regarding the common, that Festivus pole there, that tree, that Versailles, illuminated tree, which I have to say doesn't look too bad at night. It looks
At
pretty awful in the daytime, but it looks okay at night. I called the rec commission a couple of days ago. I spoke to the receptionist and told her that, or the secretary told her that, who I was and that, we would like to be included, but in these decisions. And so I've got Jen Anderson as the chair, and I'm going to send her a letter. But I did talk to a friend who put it up on the Parks and Recreation or Parks and Cemetery, the people put it up. And because looking at it, and I think John Stevens had said it looked pretty permanent, and it did look pretty permanent if you go and look at it. But I talked to Connor O'Toole at Parks and Cemeteries, and he said, no, it's temporary. So that's good. I'm not sure when it's supposed to come down, but I'll try and find that out.
It's fine for this year. It's an odd year.
Yep. And like I said, it looks pretty good at night. When I saw it a few days ago, I thought, oh my God, that really looks pretty permanent. I started getting nervous, but he said, no, it's intended to be temporary. So that's great.
The only thing that I'm just thinking as you're mentioning the Festivus tree and how I assume we're gonna want to have a new evergreen up there. We have a small budget for trees, but I don't know that we were envisioning as many being taken down. Do we want to be more specific about trees than what we say, like the types of trees, size, the number?
I think we should consult someone who knows something about it, like Nick or like the Davy people.
I don't remember who it was that I was talking to somebody about trees, and there's a tree place in Hopkinton, which is what they were referring. It's not Hopkinton, but it's maybe it's Weston Nursery or Carson Weston.
That's exactly what
But
it is. They've got a ton of trees. They're fantastic there.
It was at our meeting, Craig.
It was Craig Dolphin.
And the bigger caliper, the better, the best that you can afford. That's the healthiest. So you don't want to have a little stick, but sometimes if you get them too big, then they won't survive. So there's a balance in there.
Right.
But I would say that we should do the best we can for trees.
Right. And as I recall, when Nick did the original work for us, he had a list of suggested trees for the common that would be appropriate. So that original study that he did for us laid all that out.
Good memory, John.
Do you have a copy of that somewhere, John?
I'll look.
I'll look for it right now. Maybe I have it.
It seems like it was in that report that he did. That was, like 20 pages or 30 pages.
Yeah, because he identified all the trees that were there, and then he came up with recommendations of types of trees for when something had to be replaced, rather than just putting something up there, willy-nilly.
Bill Stendrop actually did mention the size tree that you wouldn't want to go above. I don't remember what it was, unfortunately.
It's just that the bigger the tree, the harder it is to transplant. So I think that, we want to get them as large as we can and as healthy as we can.
Yeah, it would be nice to be able to at least replace a couple of the trees that have been taken down.
Yeah, I agree.
So would someone be willing to take on, actually, I'll call Bill and find out how big a tree. And then maybe someone be willing to take on finding out some prices for the trees that are on the list, just so we have an idea. And then we
I
can
can,
talk about how
if you get
many.
a list of what we need, I'll, after, I mean, I can do it over Christmas, but I can call or find out, places and, start with Weston and see where else nearby there are trees.
So we've lost 6 trees. Do we want to plant 6 trees? One being a Christmas tree, and the other 5 being whatever varieties that Nick has recommended.
Good.
And that's,
Think we have that much money?
I don't know what they cost.
Yeah,
I think it's like $300 to $500 a pop, up to 1,000. It just depends on the tree.
well, the
And
plant,
if they plant
yeah,
them,
for
then
those-
they guarantee them. I think it's,
if you have to have one of those special trucks with a big spade and everything, that could be expensive.
But if you do them all together, and the equipment's already there, there's some savings with that.
True.
So
I think the
Bill,
problem, like I
think-
said, we have, I'm sorry, go ahead, John.
Yeah, no, Bill, when Nick did remember when he built the diorama and he did that initial report for us, I think that initial report I included with all the material that I gave you. So it should be in there.
Yeah, I'm looking for it. Do you have any?
I can take a look, see too, see if I have it electronically anywhere.
and it seems like, was it a separate just tree report, or was it included in the larger report?
He's got replacing 8 oak trees, 3.5-inch caliber, $460 a piece for a total of $3,680. And then also maple trees, 3.5-inch caliber, 8, $470 a piece, $3,760. That seems like an awful lot, 16 trees.
Yeah, I think if we just replace what we lost, we're
Yeah.
good.
Right. And obviously we want a conifer for the Christmas tree.
Yeah. So he's got the caliper there, because that's
Yeah.
sounds about what I seem to remember him saying, like 3-inch,
Yeah. 3.5.
3.5.
Yeah. And he said, what did I say, maples and oaks?
Maples and oaks, yeah.
Yeah. Now, there are a variety of maples. There are probably a variety of oaks as well, but we can figure that out, I guess.
Maples would be pretty in the fall up there.
Right. We don't want Norway maples though, right?
No.
No, aren't they invasive now?
Invasive. That's
Believe
what he
so.
was saying. So we had budgeted 6,000 for the tree removal and planting, but we also listed that as in-kind services. So it really wasn't money we budgeted for. Just so you guys know where we're at on the contingency, we had started with 93,882. And we are currently at $85,026.40.
Well, that's good. We still have quite a bit.
And if what Jeff was saying the other day holds true, then our estimates were very generous on
Yeah.
the other thing. So we may not need the contingency money. Be great if we can turn money in the end, but I don't want to kind of cheap out on things if we've got the money to cover
Well,
it.
especially the trees. I mean, we don't want to make a forest. It needs to be where people can use it. But if we need to replace more trees and we have more money, I would like to see more rather than fewer trees put on the common. in the tree plan, because it seems like he came up with a tree plan to reforest the common in a sustainable way.
Did you find that plan, Bill?
No, that's all I found so far. That's what I just gave you.
Did he give it to us electronically, do you think, John?
He may have. I'll check a couple of my USBs and see if I have anything.
I'll check my files just in case he gave out something during a meeting.
There was a discussion about that. I'm not so sure he did, but I think we wanted it, but
It was early on. It was right after when we started first talking to him about it, and he did his assessment and came up with his initial draft. It was all included in that material.
And one
he does
thing,
say- Go ahead, Paul.
one thing that wasn't on our original budget that we need to do is when we're all said and done, we need to have a sign. Just recognizing CPC. for
Oh,
this.
right.
Yeah.
Speaking of signs, were we gonna refurbish and update the sign that's by what I guess is the west entrance?
I don't know who owns that. I don't think that it's a town thing. Is it Blackstone Valley something?
The quarter put
Sure
that
is.
in, that kind of it's called a wayside, that it's angled and has information
Yeah,
and graphics. The corridor may replace it for us. It seems like, and that's something that we'll talk about. There's a new Willard sign on one of the islands going up Millbury Street. So I'm guessing the corridor paid for those. I don't know if I just can't imagine Willard House, because there are numerous new signs all over town that are smaller, that I think the quarter may be paid for. So they may have a budget to do signs. And so this is something I can reach out to them and ask, that we're doing a project on the common, and would they be interested in, or would it be possible for them to replace that panel? Because I know they have I don't know if they said 10 years, the sun just kind of destroys the legibility of the signs.
Yeah.
And so they do
Right.
know they have to be replaced, because
Yeah.
I know the one at Willard House got replaced while I was still there. So
Yeah.
that wasn't even 10 years. So I can check with them and see if that's something they'll do.
We
Yeah.
also have to figure out what kind of signage we want to put in to recognize CPC and all, or CPA funds being used for this. Because
I would say
I don't-
something small on the bandstand.
yeah, I was gonna say, we don't want anything like, what's that, Ebclaw Landing or River,
No.
River, that'd be a little bit out of place. So yeah, maybe something
Speaking
small.
of band, Paul, did we have in the budget a little money to like scrape and paint it?
Yes, that was about all we said we were going to do.
Yeah.
But, the question is the town going to make that handicapped accessible? Because it's on the list of things that are supposed to be addressed. And it isn't anything we budgeted for.
No, that's right.
yeah. We purposely kept it just to basic maintenance, so it didn't trigger any ADA compliance issues.
But, I'd hate to take the time, effort, and expense to, do that kind of sprucing and then have it immediately turned around and not torn up, but, have construction done on it to kind of take away from it.
Where does it sit on the list? Does anybody know?
I wonder who would be responsible. That'd be, think Paul Canoia would know?
I don't know. Without Tim and Becca there, I don't think this is high on their priority list.
Right, Roger Trahan know anything about that?
Roger
What about that
probably.
commission? The commission, yeah.
Yeah,
Disability Committee?
Disability
But if But if we think that there is going to be at some point a handicap accessibility project involving that, and we're going to redo the brick all around there, we don't want to redo that and have them have to rip it up, or just like with the library, we had to rip out, we spent $500,000 on an elevator that never worked and then had to rip that whole thing out.
That's
I
a
don't-
good
you know,
point.
Mhm.
I would rather at least plan, if this is what they're going to do in a year or two or three, see if somehow we can do our project that stops short, or does accommodates whatever they plan to do without doing a lot of destruction of the brick that we're planning to do.
We should probably ask Paul to help us look into that.
I mean, as I recall, the
make it-
thinking that when we started to first discuss this project was to leave the bandstand, spruce it up, make sure it was structurally okay and all the rest of that, and then leave a ADA compliance issue project for something down the road.
Exactly.
Because this could delay if we try to incorporate it into this project, it could be
Yeah.
delays associated with it. So I think we just keep to our original plan and with regards to ADA compliance, just sort of kick that can down the road until
I agree.
the commission is ready to pursue it.
And the nice thing about brick, if they have to do something to incorporate a ramp into it, they can use the same brick and they can just,
True.
so.
Pull them up, put them back down.
Yep.
But we do agree we're gonna scrape it and paint it, correct?
Yeah, that was included. I forget how we worded it. Let me look.
Yeah, and I mean, when you look at it, some of the railings are rotted and, I mean, basic maintenance, really.
It wasn't on, I don't believe it was on Nick's original report, but we're talking small money, I think, there.
We had listed repair and painting 5616, but again, that was supposed to be in kind. So again, it'd be good to talk to Paul, see if they have somebody that could help with that. But we did set aside $1,200 for paint.
What about the electrical? Have they come up with a plan for the box that is now across from the bandstand? Is it going to be somehow incorporated on the other side? Is it going to stay where it is?
I think it's
Is there
going
going
to
to be
the same. It's on the existing plans. I don't think it's moving. It's basically in the same place that it is now. It's on those plans, so
Is it just the same or is it gonna be different?
it's not going to be a green painted wooden box anymore. It's going to be a real electrical box. Unfortunately, you can't make it look historic.
Mhm.
It is what it is. It's an
Is it
electrical.
something, is that something that can be put in the ground?
No, this is where they access to, like.
Yeah, I know, but you could have a hatch to get access to it. That box is ugly as all sin,
The existing one is, for
Yeah.
sure.
or at least hide it behind the bandstand or something.
Maybe behind that granite post?
Right.
I'm not a fan of keeping it where it's located, to be honest with you.
Wasn't there a granite post there? Could we hide it behind that or partially hide it?
Or even hide it behind the bandstand and this landscape around it. So when they need to get to it, they could get to it. Because pole, the electrical service is going to be coming off of that pole that's close to the bandstand, the new
Yeah.
electric pole. So maybe we can move it and hide it a little bit.
But if we do that and they need to put a ramp going around the bandstand, then it'd be in the way.
They can deal with that later on.
I don't think the ramp is going to be a full circle around the bandstand. It's not that, to maybe 2 or 3 steps up. I would think if we did it on the west side, they could put the ramp on the more east side.
I know, but to me, we're spending all this money to do this work and we're going to leave a big old ugly
Yeah.
electric box right in the center of the common. I think we got to pursue putting it someplace else. And, to me, the easiest would be to, put it over by the common, disguise it with some, landscaping. So it's, not standing out
Right.
as much.
So you're talking kind of along the walkway that leads over to the Grafton Inn, kind of behind.
I mean,
The
I'm talking
bandstand
like
along
right
that.
behind the bandstand and just landscape around it.
Directly behind it, so opposite from where the granite posts are in the center.
Yeah,
The opposite the steps that lead up to.
right. Yeah. So on the backside of the,
Facing the Grafton, the country store.
yeah,
Yeah.
in between.
You could plant a couple of shrubs or something on either side of it.
Yeah.
That'd be
Alright.
fun.
I'll have to let him know that right away because that may be something he needs input
Yep.
from Bill on as well. The
And
good
somebody
thing is both trees that were back there are gone now, so
Yeah.
it shouldn't be an issue.
Somebody mentioned the pole a minute ago. That phone pole's coming down, isn't it?
Well, they put the new one up, and that's where the electric service is going to come in.
Yeah, it's gonna come in from that side.
Yeah, but that's outside the common, isn't it?
The pole
Right.
is, yes.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the pole right in the center, right next, adjacent to the.
That's
gazebo.
coming out.
That's,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay. Thank goodness. That would make me nervous here a minute. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Good.
coming out because we're putting all of the
Right.
wires underground. Okay, well, I'll follow up with Jeff on that.
And the other question that, and I think Bill and you and I were talking about it the day that we went and looked at the pathways. Are we going to keep those two granite posts that are right there in the center as well? Or are those going to come out? Because we're not putting an archway there, right?
No archway there.
Those are the only, as far as I know, those are the only original posts. They don't
I don't
serve,
have a problem with them. I mean, they're original. I think they're fine.
they don't serve any purpose.
Yeah.
We can put the sign on it for CPC.
Hey, that's actually a great idea.
Especially if we could make the sign like no bigger, like the same width. Maybe it's a foot high or a foot and a half high, but it's the same width, so it doesn't protrude.
Yeah, it's just a plaque, really, right?
Yeah,
Kind of along the lines of that other sign that's there, but smaller, kind of angled kind of thing. Is that what you're thinking of?
Just mount it right to the column.
Just flat on it. Yeah.
They'd be pretty low for people to read. If they were angled up, it would be easier. That's the only thing.
I'll have to take a look at the post to see.
those must be 4 feet tall, aren't they? Would you say?
Maybe. Certainly no higher than that.
And then we have to put the plaques with all of our pictures on them too, so it could go on the other one.
A lot of details.
That's right.
That's where the devil
But
lies.
good to have 5 of us. Some
For
makes
sure.
sense, others don't.
All right. All right.
Hey, Bill, did you ever find out whether or not the monies were still in the budget, that $2,500 to do like painting the posts and everything? The fences?
I haven't, no. Need to do that.
There's also money, and I don't know if they get it still or not, because Grafton is a Tree City USA, and it seems like there's access to grant funding where they get money for trees. So we may be able to use some of that money that the town gets, if there is any, to plant some of the trees on the common.
Paul would be the one to ask for that. He's the tree warden.
Right.
And especially since they took down the trees, maybe they do it out of their.
Yeah.
Well, that was part of the in-kind, is that they would help with the taking down and the planting.
I'll ask Paul.
Yeah, that'd be good. So I'm getting a tour of the library on Saturday. I'm looking forward to it.
Are you special?
Went to
I had a
Big
walk
Bell.
around there with Andy a few weeks ago. And the
Windows are
architect-
looking good.
yeah, yeah,
They look nice.
it's coming
There's
along.
windows in? I haven't been up there.
Yes,
They had some of the windows in on the section that, the part that connects the old to the new.
Yep. that's right.
One of the windows is going to be leaded glass with all the names of the members of the building committee.
Really?
No, I'm kidding. I was going after the
Let it
pictures
glass.
that John said.
I
They're gonna
thought they
go on
were
the
going to
common.
have busts of all of you guys.
Yeah,
Stained
yeah,
glass
it's
image of
going
you,
to-
John.
No pictures of me. No, thank you.
Well, I literally have not been up there in probably a month, so I got to get up there again. Well, I will on Saturday. All right. Do we have anything else, Bill?
I do not.
Did you see that new sign, the new Willard sign?
Oh, yeah, I did see that. I took a picture of it. Yep.
And it's like 3 feet tall. I don't get if that's legal. I don't know if they just put it in. I don't know. Before you're put in signs that you're supposed to get approval from the town. I don't know if they did that. And I don't know who did it. I think that's the big question.
I took a photograph of it. I'll send it to the rest of you guys.
Where's this sign?
It's on the same island as the World War I monument.
Okay.
And it's for the Willard Clockhouse?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they took down, it seems like all the those more horizontal signs, the bigger signs, and put these more like a speed limit type, more vertical sign.
I just sent it to you. Oh,
Why would they put a marker about the Willard Clockhouse?
It's
on
a
the pond?
directional sign.
seems to me they could have put it on a utility pole or something, or another signpost, but I don't know.
Well, that's why, I wonder who did it, because usually they do try to piggyback
Yeah,
signs when they do add new signs. But I think it should have come before us. I think my
Sure.
Yeah.
that it's a sign on the common and they're supposed to come
Yep.
to the district.
Yeah, it does seem kind of low.
Yeah, it's probably
I live
number
right next to it. I hadn't even seen it. I don't
3,
know how long it's been there.
It's pretty new. I think, in the last 2 or 3 weeks.
It's not even straight.
It hadn't been hit by a car yet to straighten it up.
It's
If it gets hit, it's
Good
going to get
time.
more crooked. It's leaning the other way. It's just going to help push it further over. That's but ugly. Yeah, why couldn't they put it on the back of the other sign that's right next to it?
right?
Well, that's kind of what I wondered is, just one less post.
Don't they have to come to us before they put those in?
You would think.
Yeah.
I think some people just forget we exist.
Mr. Berger shouldn't.
That's true. That's true.
I wonder if he approved that.
Won't be the first time.
So this isn't replacing the those beautiful cast iron signs, right?
They weren't I think they were extruded aluminum. They were flat, but they had the logo, that wheel logo, and the nicer print, and a border around it. You know, it was a nicer sign, the earlier signs. And then they made, and I don't know if that one is at the bottom of Millbury Street at Providence Road. They replaced a bunch of those long signs with what I call the speed limit signs that are vertical. So that one may still be at the bottom, and those were still designed, had that quarter look to them. And I think that's what they always said, is they want this to be unified, so everybody, no matter where you go, recognizes these are attractions in the corridor. So that's why I'm wondering if the museum just did it on their own. But they're closed, so I'm not real sure, what's going on right now.
Well, we could ask Bob Berger, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Does anybody know him?
I know him, yeah. I've got his business card right here, if I can get it out. I got his number. You want me to call him?
Well, you've got a lot on your plate. You can, I mean, if you have a relationship, but I mean, like I said, you're busy. I can give him a call.
Yeah. So he's extension 1140, just the regular main line, and then 1140.
Okay.
And it's Berger R at grafton-mass.ma.gov. Berger R.
Okay. I shall call him.
Something else, if you're calling, that Tim used to do the budgets now, and it seems like they cut our budget. So because I didn't send it, or I don't know how they're doing it this year, but since you're not seeing people, the town administrator makes up a budget. And if, he looks at our budget and cut it, there's not really any communication with us. And I don't know the timeline, but usually Tim did the budget November, December, and then January departments heads had to get things in. So it's pretty early in the planning period to get all that done. Because I think,
So you think, I
did we
mean, I
get
know
knocked out?
we used to have what, a $500 budget. It was cut to like 300.
We had an 800 and got
I
cut
don't
to
even know
4.
what it is.
It was 800.
It was 800 and got cut to 4.
And then I got cut out.
I'm
completely.
looking right now to see if there's anything proposed.
I don't know if it was cut again, but it did go from 8 to 4.
I think they cut it out completely.
Really?
Couldn't have.
I don't think we have any budget anymore.
Because right now we're in fiscal year 21.
I guess
So there's nothing on the website.
Yeah, I don't think we have a budget.
Who would I talk to about that?
The temporary town administrator.
Yeah. Carter Terenzini.
Carter.
So if we have no budget, how are we supposed to do like public hearings and publish notices and stuff like that?
It's a good question.
Everybody's quit. It's hard to know who's there and what's going on. Because there's no finance director either to ask.
No, our town is in disarray right now, I'm afraid.
Man, I guess.
We don't have a town clerk either. We have an assistant town clerk.
When there was a house fire last week, of course, we have no deputy fire chief anymore. We have no assistant. There used to be 2 assistant chiefs. There's none now. And the chief was in Aruba or Abaco. Yeah, Aruba. So we had no chief, no deputy chief, no assistant chiefs. And the Westboro chief came over.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's scary.
We had, we did have a captain and a second captain, but yeah, no chiefs at all.
Wow. At least they thought ahead to have the Westboro chief.
Yeah, they didn't tell
Oh.
anybody. Paul had no idea, but it worked out. Yeah, I think he got there fairly quickly.
Yeah. It's a mess right now.
Yeah,
That's for
a
sure.
lot of things are.
So hopefully Carter will be able to help us out with the RFP and all. He said he would, so.
Yeah, okay. Anything else, anybody?
I got my marching orders. Got plenty
Yeah,
to
you've
do.
got your plate full. Well, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
I'll second that.
All those say aye.
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 Okay. I declare the motion carried.